Hey guys, this is Matt Brunet, and welcome to Movie News Weekly, hosted by FilmBook. Now, before we begin, let's take a look at what we got in this week's news, which includes T'Challa dethroned, a live-action Bella Notte, The Adventure Begins Soon, Bankruptcy Time, Music of the Wind, Sony Ain't Dank on the Cush, The Women of the New Thriller, More Villains, The Captain's Final Bow, and Being Executives. So with that said, let's get things started. With a giant like Black Panther, it can only take giant robots to take it down. After 6 weeks of dominating the box office and breaking records for both Marvel and superhero movies alike, Pacific Rim Uprising became the first movie to be in first place at the box office during the weekend after Black Panther, where the film grabbed a total of $28 million. As it does carry a giant budget of $150 million, and unless the foreign box office can pick things up, Universal might end up losing money on this one. As for Black Panther, the movie is now slowly settling down its popularity in theaters, where it sits in second place with less than $17 million. Meanwhile, Sherlock Gnomes, the latest animated film that is the sequel to the 2011 Romeo and Juliet, stumbles in with poor reviews and landing in fourth with more than $10 million, being very close to Tomb Raider making the same thing, behind I Can Only Imagine, which got less than $14 million. Following from behind includes In Wrinkle in Time with $8 million, Love Simon with less than $8 million, and Paul, Apostle of Christ with $5 million. Okay, come on, Disney. Now you're just stepping into territory where it's getting ridiculous. Disney has recently hired Charlie Bean in order to direct the live-action animation hybrid remake of the 1955 Walt Disney animated classic, Lady and the Tramp. The movie, well known for its romantic spaghetti scene during the song Bella Notte, is about the relationship between a pampered cocker spaniel and a street dog who shows her how to live life freely. The script will be written by Andrew Bujalski. This will be Bean's first jump onto a live-action production for a big studio. Beforehand, his career was in animation, where he was an animator for shows like Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack, and even directed almost all the episodes of the short-lived Disney XD series Tron Uprising. Last year, Bean made his directorial debut for a feature film with the Lego Ninjago movie. The film will be released on Disney's upcoming digital streaming service, which will come out in late 2019. Jones will be preparing for his next adventure soon. Steven Spielberg announced at the Rakuten TV Empire Awards that the production of the next Indiana Jones movie will begin next year. Spielberg stated, "It's always worth the trip when I get to work with the deep belch of talent coming out of the UK. The actors and the crew, the chips, the sparks, the drivers, everybody who has helped me make my movies here and will continue helping me make my movies here when I come back in April 2019 to make the 5th Indiana Jones movie right here." While Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall will produce, the movie will bring back Steven Spielberg as an executive producer and director, while Harrison Ford will also come back to play as Jones himself. Spielberg was recently nominated for another Oscar for Best Directing for The Post, and his next movie, Ready Player One, is set to come out next week. Indiana Jones will be off on his 5th adventure on July 10th, 2020. Yep, this crazy story is continuing, but there is a plan for the people though. The Weinstein Company has officially filed for bankruptcy in Delaware. The process was done in the hopes that it could sell their entire assets to Lantern Capital Partners for $310 million. The company also has a list of unsecured creditors who are owed millions each, including Boyce, Schiller, and Flexner with $5.7 million, Palisandes Media for $13.7 million, Wanda Pictures for $14.4 million, and Union Bank and Bank of America for $156 million. Co-founder Bob Weinstein stated, "While we had hopes to reach a sale out of court, the board is pleased to have a plan for maximizing the value of its asset, preserving as many jobs as possible, and pursuing justice for any victims." On top of doing their best to have all their employees keep their jobs, Bob also made the big announcement that everyone who has accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment is officially released from their non-disclosure agreement. He most likely would have wanted it this way. Composer Michel Legrand has been hired to work on the score of The Other Side of the Wind, which was the lost project by Orson Welles that will be brought back to life by Netflix. The significance with Legrand is that he did actually work with Welles himself by doing the music for the final film Orson completed, F for Fake. Legrand stated about what he wants to do with the new score, "I ask myself constantly, what would Orson have reacted? The very subject of the film touched me. The idea of the passage of time, the renewal of inspiration. I am proud to be the link between these two Welles films. I take it as a gift from Orson. Through the Clouds." Producer Frank Marshall added, after working with Michel on F for Fake and wanting a jazz-based score, Orson always spoke about him doing the music for Wind. So it is wonderful to have the 3-time Academy Award winner on board, and a thrill to sit and spot the music with Michel, whom at 86 years old still has tremendous energy, creativity, and a twinkle in his eye. You can smoke weed every day, but not on the job. Sony Pictures is currently investigating the case of their president of domestic marketing, Christine Birch, as she has been getting numerous of complaints from the staff. The staffers claim that instead of doing her work, she would smoke weed inside the studio lot, and there are even some evidence that shows that she has done so, including her having a strong odor of marijuana. Birch has recently denied these claims to her human resources personnel regarding that she has done so within Sony property. The staffers are said to be furious with the case due to Sony doing little about the situation. Birch was a recent addition to the company, as she was brought in by the president of Sony's marketing and distribution, Josh Greenstein. While many of the movies have received poor results in terms of marketing, like the Ghostbusters reboot and the Emoji Movie, they did manage to get out with a couple of hits, like Spider-Man Homecoming with Disney and Marvel, and Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. Well, it does need a lady's touch. Dakota Johnson and Zazie Beetz are in talks with Annapoorna in order to join the cast of an untitled thriller starring Armie Hammer. While the role of Johnson and Beetz are currently unknown, the movie will be about a bartender in New Orleans, played by Hammer, who picks up a random phone that was left behind at the bar, and now his life turns completely upside down when a series of unfortunate events start to unfurl all around him. Babak Anvari, the helmer of Under the Shadow, will be both directing and writing the movie. Johnson was recently featured this year in the final installment of the 50 Shades series, 50 Shades Freed, reprising her role as Anastasia, which the film ended up getting $347.2 million at the box office. As for Beetz, while she is prominently featured in the hit FX series Atlanta, she will be appearing in the highly anticipated upcoming superhero film Deadpool 2 as Domino coming May 18th. Annapoorna is fast-tracking this movie in order to be released on March 29th, 2019. We got more bad guys in town. Kyra Sedgwick and Jeffrey Donovan has signed on in order to star in Villains. They will be joining the cast that includes Micah Monroe and Bill Skarsgård, who recently was Pennywise in the 2017 film It. The movie will be a dark comedy about how 2 criminals broke into a home to find a girl that was chained in the basement, and the psychotic homeowners wanting to make sure that their little secret doesn't leave the house. The movie will be directed by Robert Olson and Dan Burke, who also wrote the script that was in the 2016 Blacklist, and the companies handling the production include Star Throners Entertainment and The Realm. Donovan is keeping himself quite busy recently, as not only will he be featured in the 7th season of USA's Burn Notice, but he will also be in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile with Zac Efron, in which the film will depict the serial killer Ted Bundy. Coming next year, say goodbye to the Captain. In an interview with the New York Times, actor Chris Evans revealed that the 4th Avengers movie will be the last film in which he will play as Captain America. The final time that he will lead the Marvel crew will be this fall for the reshoots of the upcoming movie. Marvel Studios did not comment regarding the future plans of Captain America after Avengers 4, or if there will be a character that will become the new Captain to take his place. Ever since 2011, Evans had his popularity soar to become one of the big heads of the Avengers, starting with Captain America: The First Avenger. This would then follow with the 2 sequels of the film, Winter Soldier and Civil War, along with the crossover films where he joins the gang to fight off villains like in the 2012 Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron. The next movie that we will see Evans as the captain will be Avengers Infinity War, coming April 27th, and he will have his finale in 2019. Well, at least he'll be recognized somehow. During the Glass Animation Festival, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who were guests at the festival along with Jorge Gutierrez, revealed that after the big debate of where they will be credited, they will be taking on the role of executive producers. Miller stated, "We were really proud of the many contributions we made to that film. In light of the creative differences, we elected to take an executive producer credit." The duo also went on to discuss about how they learned about filmmaking by making their first works from Clone High to 21 Jump Street, and the importance to be critical with what you do so you don't love it too much to slip in some faults. Last year, one of the biggest controversies in Hollywood was when Lord and Miller were fired from being directors of the Star Wars spin-off film Solo: A Star Wars Story, where Ron Howard had to take his place due to creative differences. Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilm, stated, "Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are talented filmmakers who have assembled an incredible cast and crew, but it becomes clear that we have different visions on this film, and we decided to part ways." Solo will still be coming to theaters on May 25th.
And that's all I've got for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to head on down to film-book.com for all the latest movie and TV news, along with their columns on the box office and their theatrical release schedule. Also, you can follow them on whatever social media you'd like. And while you're at it, you can follow me on my YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter if you're more into stuff like animation, Disney, and my weird sense of humor. If you were watching this on YouTube, then hit that like button and come subscribe to us, and also leave a little comment on what you think on the news this week. If you were listening to this on a podcast on iTunes or any other podcast service, then don't forget to rate and review what you just heard. Tune in next time for another round of Movie News Weekly, and until next week, see you later, dudes!